Hello and welcome everyone to this week's COT review. I'm Thomas from COTbase.com. Today we're going to be looking at the 14th Commitments of Traders report of 2019. Of course, as usual, we're going to start this review with looking at the largest changes in commercials positions. Now we have the Brazilian real on top of our list with a 34% change in commercials positions. Jumping to this 1 year's chart, you can see that this change is amongst the largest changes in the past 52 weeks. I would say it's the second largest change in the past 1 year, so it's a significant size. Of course, suggesting there could be a rise coming early next week against the dollar, of course. Jumping to the 5 years chart, you can see how extreme this market is. Clearly, it's visible that the most bullish extreme in this past 5 years was when commercials were at roughly 50,000 contracts net long and large speculators at 50,000 contracts net short level. They're currently at roughly 14,000 contracts, long and short respectively, of course. So it says that there's, of course, some more space left for this value to go even to an even greater level, which means if we see in the medium to long term some more decline in the Brazilian real, we shouldn't be surprised. But of course, we would be expecting the stress levels to build up to the bullish side of the market. Moving on to feeder cattle, we have a 33% change over there in commercials positions. Back to the 1 year's chart, you can see that over there. It is a bullish change signal, but due to this rally we experienced on Thursday, we may be a little bit late with the signal, although it doesn't mean that the market can't move any higher. Let's just go over to the 5 year chart and see the extreme situation in this market. You can see that we're moving away from this bullish extreme. As we do, the market is gradually going higher and higher. And of course, we did not reach that all-time or close to all-time bearish level in the market. So we jumped away from that. But this doesn't mean this can continue further on in the next couple of weeks. The next market is gold. We have a 16% change over there in commercials positions. Now, regarding gold, just for a second, let me jump over to the options only data type. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we just had this webinar yesterday. And one of the examples for this new data type that COTbase introduced, it's a new innovation of the service, is that these COT change signals are simply more visible in the options only data. And you can see a great example over here. After this decline in the market, we got this huge bullish change signal, and it ended this decline, pushed prices back upwards, and now we see the exact same thing happening. So it's pretty exciting to see that, and of course we're interested in what's coming in the next couple of weeks. Now let's stay here with the options only data to analyze the extreme. You can see in this data type that we had a roughly 19,000 contracts net long level for commercials, and roughly the same for large speculators, just the short side, the opposite side. And we have been at these short levels, which of course were very good signals for this top, but we're moving away very dynamically from those levels towards the bullish side. So this of course means that there's a high chance of the market to go even higher from there in the next couple of weeks and month. Back to the futures only data, and let's jump over to large speculator COT Extreme as we usually do so. Let's open the Bitcoin. A very exciting moment because it's the first time I'm analyzing Bitcoin in this weekly COT review, and you can see the reason for that. Basically, just 1 year ago, they started introducing Bitcoin to futures markets, and of course, it's interesting to see how the COT data is developing. We have an all-time extreme in large speculators and small speculators as well. For me, I think the all-time extreme in small speculators positions means a little bit more. The fact that they're so optimistic about this market simply gives me a more pessimistic perspective of the market. We know from a lot of COT analysis that in the majority of cases, small speculators tend to be on the wrong side at a big change in the trend. So if this happens to be a top, and of course that coincides with this very optimistic level in small speculators positions, then of course we're expecting a decrease in the market. Let's move on to the Russian ruble, where we have all-time COT Extreme and large speculators, but also in commercials positions as well. And it's very, very obvious to see that on this chart. The last time we had this was over here back in early 2018. Of course, you can see that since then the market dropped. And then we have another case from the end of 2016. It's a bit hard to see on the chart over there, but we had a drop back then as well. So again, the significance of these extremes is of course highlighted in many examples, and this of course caution is advised due to the fact that these extremes, all-time extremes, could be present in the market for many weeks before the reaction happens. And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about the euro market, where we have this 121 report extreme in large speculators. You can see that over there, and of course 118 report extreme in commercials. Now it's obvious to see that we have plenty of space left to reach even greater extremes. Nevertheless, the fact that we haven't seen such an extreme for roughly 2 years now means a lot, and of course it could push the euro market a bit higher in the next couple of weeks or month. So that was all for this review. Of course, you can do a much more detailed COT analysis now that we've come up with the new version. Of course, the webinar, if you check that video, then you're going to see some very cool features that we've introduced to the system. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you next week. Have a great weekend. Take care. Goodbye.